I had an unexpected threesome with my best friend and my boyfriend. Am I wrong to feel extremely betrayed by them both? Just the other night, I was hanging out with my best friend and my boyfriend in her apartment. It started out innocently enough with us playing games and watching movies. Then we started playing Never Have I Ever, and the questions were pretty sexual. She then asked never have I ever had a threesome, and both me and my boyfriend said no. Her entire vibe changed to the point it was scary, and she looked at us both. She said, "What if we did something crazy?" I kind of laughed, because no part of me could have ever fathomed what she meant. But then she scooted closer to my boyfriend and started kissing him. He wasn't stopping her. I just froze. It felt surreal, like a dream nightmare. There they were making out like it was the most natural thing in the world. I think I had a trauma response of sorts and kind of tricked myself into thinking this was normal. I can't explain it, but it's like my brain wasn't ready to feel the extent of what was happening, so it tricked itself. They started undressing each other, and on instinct I undressed myself too. This isn't a sex sub, so I won't go into the dirty details, but a full-fledged threesome occurred between us. The next morning I woke up at first believing I had dreamt it, but there they were naked on the floor together. I still couldn't process what the hell occurred, so I just kind of ran out. When it finally hit me, I had a full-fledged breakdown. I've gotten calls and texts from both of them asking if I'm okay. I haven't responded. I can't respond. I've thrown up twice from the intrusive memories. I didn't want this. Why did I go along with this? Why didn't I stop it? Why did she start it? Questions just keep swimming in my brain. I don't know what the hell to do. Last text from my boyfriend was, "I hope you aren't upset." I think that was such a special event in our relationship, even though it was insane. He's knocked on my door and I haven't opened it. I have no idea where to go from here. I still love him, but I can't look at him the same. I fucking saw his dick go in and out of my best friend. Not to mention her. I feel like I've been betrayed in the most disgusting way, even though I let it happen, participated. Am I right to feel like they did wrong in the worst way? Update. Hey guys, I figured I should add this to my post rather than respond to a bunch of people with it. I met up with my boyfriend about the situation. In a nutshell, this is what I got out of him. I asked a lot of questions. No, he ain't been sleeping with her the whole time. That night was the first time. He didn't actively want to sleep with her, but he wouldn't have said no either. He put this down to being a horny guy. He thought that the vibe was super sexual even before she came onto him, and that he expected it to happen and thought I did too. He mentioned how sexual the questions were and her straight up saying we were turning her on with our answers. She did say this, but I thought she was joking. He didn't push her away because he thought it would be a fun experience for all of us. He admitted to being turned on by her boldness and doing it in front of me. He thought that if she did it so easily, it meant she and I talked about it beforehand, and that's why we invited him. They didn't have sex after I left, but they did express regret over possibly hurting me, and he left as soon as he could. I asked if I could see his phone to see if H been talking to her. He admitted that they did message a bit after the ordeal, but it was nothing serious. I asked if I could see, and he got kind of panicky, which made my heart drop. He was like, "Let me remind you that I was still in the mindset that it was a special moment for us. So I knew I was going to get sick from what I saw, but I needed the full truth of the situation, so I asked anyway." He showed me their DMs. They went something like, "Her, let me know if you get in touch with my name. Him, I will. Can I be honest though? Him last night was the best night of my life. Her, me too. I feel bad that my name might feel bad, but God, it was so hot. Him, he'll be sad if we can't do that again. Her, you're everything my name said you were. Him, she talks about me like that. I'm embarrassed, lol. Her, all the time. I low-key wanted to see for myself. After that, he started complimenting her sex skills and stuff, which I quickly skimmed over because I knew I'd get sick if I fully processed them. I skimmed over the rest of the conversation really because at this point I just couldn't handle seeing anything else of that nature. I scrolled up in their DMs and only saw occasional memes and reposts, so I'm pretty confident that last night was the first time. It still doesn't make me feel better though, considering while I was having a literal breakdown they were complimenting each other's sex skills and bodies. I told him to leave and he begged me to forgive him for everything, but I told him to go fuck her again since he loved it so much. At this point, he'll probably block them both and just focus on healing and moving on because I know I'm not the kind of person to get over that at all. Thanks everyone for your advice and support. It truly made me feel worlds better. I genuinely believe that the BF and best friend were already a thing behind your back, OP. This was just a way to make things okay. Talk to them separately. Be open and honest. End the friendship and relationship if you feel that's necessary. I won't tell you what to do. I won't tell you what to do. Okay, I will. Op has already had sexual trauma. She doesn't need either of these two in her life. Op, go find decent people. This is disgusting. Did your boyfriend even check in with you during to make sure you were okay? I think they set this up. You are right to feel betrayed. Dump these assholes. Yeah. Like, why did an OPS BF glanced over to check if she was okay with it or not before responding immediately by kissing back and getting naked? My boyfriend would have been like, I'm out. My BF would have thrown the friend out and had a conversation with me afterwards about, hey, yeah, I know she's your friend, but WTF? You need to have a long talk with that girl about boundaries. They're both for the streets. Neither of them hesitated nor asked if you were okay with it. I have invited a third into my marriage as well as being the third in another couple's relationship. Both times conversations were had beforehand about boundaries, contraception, and potential emotional impact. Both situations were unregrettable to all involved, and one became a regular thing, but only because we put the work in beforehand. Jumping into it is very risky from you all and disrespectful by them. The most important part of engaging in group sex with your partner is discussing it beforehand, establishing boundaries, and vetting someone you know will be respectful of your relationship and understands the role they will be playing in your sex life with your partner. None of that happened here. It feels very immature and poorly thought out on their part. You have every right to be super uncomfortable with this, and I'd strongly encourage you to reevaluate your relationship with both of them. Even with discussion and boundary setting, these things often don't work how people think they would and cause all sorts of issues in relationships. To have the temperament that lets you watch someone else rail someone you love is rare, and it's not something most people can rationalize themselves out of being wounded by. Even if you've done it before and been fine with it, feelings can change. These things rarely go well. Oh, I think it was PR you discussed, just not with her. Yep, that was the vibe I got. No self-respecting partner would just engage with someone else that way unless it's something they really wanted. Op needs to dump them both and move on. They're both trashy pass. This is can imagine even kissing someone else. Even if my partner agreed and we set it all up beforehand, I would still be awkward doing something with someone other than her. I also sure as shit would not just straight start making out with someone else right away like that. I believe her BF was already cheating on her with her best friend, unfortunately. Yup. I thought this, too. BF simply let BF kiss him without asking Op first. They were already into it and just carried on without including her in a convo before it got hot. They were totally comfortable with one another. Like if Op didn't join in, were they just going to bang each other in front of her? 'Cause I feel like they were. If she breaks up with him, guess who will be dating one another within a week or so? I don't think they will interrupt for a week. That was my thought too. I started thinking, why didn't he immediately back away and make sure his partner wanted any part of this? That would have been something that would make me go, whoa, what the hell are you doing? The fact that he just went full on make-out session without even a pause, yeah, he was cheating, and that wasn't the first time they kissed. Same. And I've even fantasized about threesomes. But absolutely, I'd immediately look at my partner to be like, we need to discuss this first, and I need to check in. I think that is perfectly reasonable, both for the safety of the relationship and for self-preservation reasons. Yep, that would have thrown me so off guard. That's it exactly. Look at your wife, ask, is this something you girls have talked about or something? Is this okay with you? Because he so wanted it. And he was afraid that his girlfriend will say no or will ruin the moment if he took a moment to ask. I feel sick for the OP. Yep, they were fucking and sought to kinda legitimize in this way. If it were a real, spontaneous type of thing, the BF would have been like, and looking at the girlfriend for approval, not just going with it. They are next gonna ask to open up the relationship. Guaranteed. They will likely try to convince her that she herself already opened Pandora's box, and act bewildered about why she went back on something. This will get so ugly, especially with two of them. Being gaslit by one person is already hard enough. I hope Op goes no contact before the other two attempt damage control. You can tell the maturity level by the way they used never have I ever as the catalyst for what they did. I read this as trashy POOs and I'm not mad about it. I thought so as well. Who the fuck just goes in and starts kissing someone else or so? The whole thing feels like a setup, not a, hey op, you cool with this? Nothing. They just started screwing, right? She even had to undress herself to join in because neither one of them were at all interested in her at the time. I'm with you. She said it herself when she described the way they kissed like it was natural. They've done it before. Yeah. My husband and I have talked about my fantasies of bringing another girl home with us, but he always says we need a plan and to make decisions together on something like that. If a woman tried making out with him and he didn't stop it, that would be a glaring red flag. My only question as I read the events was, so was BF in on the idea or just an opportunist who saw his chance? Somebody discussed it beforehand, but it sure as hell wasn't OP. Yeah, huge red flag that she initiated and your BF didn't push her away and talk to you first. They started this threesome without talking it through. I understand how you feel. I had something similar happen, but it was myself who gave the okay and then felt weird afterwards. Whatever you decide, you do need to talk about it with them. It sounds more to me that those two are into each other and suggesting a threesome was an excuse. I bet if Op got upset and left when the kissing started, they would have had sex anyway. If they wanted to execute a threesome this poorly, the best friend should have at least initiated with Op, who she is presumably closer with, and a better gauge of whether it's a good idea, right? I don't know if I'm too cynical, but those two have banged beforehand. Ain't no way. And they were cuddling on the floor together all night? Yeehaw, no, they were for sure cheating already. How are you going to have an impromptu threesome with your girlfriend and her best friend and then cuddle with the best friend? Everything about the BFS behavior is suspicious. Everyone's behavior besides Op is sus. Terrible boyfriend for not checking with girlfriend first. Worst best friend to even stir the pot. NGL, they can both fuck off. Ron Howard, they did. She only needs to talk to them if she's considering remaining connected with them. She doesn't owe either one of them shit. So letting them piece together the meaning of her silent absence would be entirely within her discretion. Yep. Something like this happened to me as well. I even had a feeling they were going to do something like that as they had been dropping hints. In my defense, I told them ahead of time that I wasn't interested in that. Anyway, we get to their house foursome in my case and it all starts happening and I had no idea how to say no. It really sucks when your body has that reaction of just going into a fog and going with the flow. I shouldn't have even gone there that night, but it taught me how important boundaries are and I feel better able to speak up now. So, that's a plus. It sucks through. There's a trauma response called fawn, and your reaction sounds just about right. It's like your brain got stuck on loading a response, and you go with the flow because you can't think of anything else to do. Was that what it was like? Yeah, I've been there. Not in a threesome situation specifically, but in my dating days I had sex plenty of times because the guy just kind of went for it and I couldn't get my brain to work enough to make a decision whether or not I actually wanted it. I'm generally not very good at speaking up for myself and hate upsetting people, so I generally need a beat to figure out my own emotions. Not saying it was anyone's fault specifically in those cases, but I definitely know the feeling of getting home the next day and feeling like I hadn't made that decision and wishing I hadn't just gone along with it. This is a situation where it should have been assumed that Op might need to take a second. The friend could have put her hand on BF's leg and looked over to see Op's reaction, or come on to Op herself even. Anything but this. Am I the only one who thinks the best friend and boyfriend were already having sex with each other before this? And this was just a way for them to make it okay? Edit for typo. That was my first thought. It seems crazy that her friend and BF just start making out and undressing each other without any kind of discussion. Absolutely. Came here to say if she wanted a threesome she should have kissed OP, not the boyfriend. That is what would have sparked a threesome properly and not made it awkward for OP. You don't just start kissing your best friend's boyfriend whether she's there or not. And the boyfriend should not have continued it without checking in with OP. Sounds like they either have been flirting or have a history and wanted this to happen so they could hook up and make it okay. My first thought was that they had planned this behind OP's back. I think your brain just activated a defense mechanism. But weirdly, I would leave like that's just sad. He didn't even try to stop her from kissing. I really thought he loved me more than that. I feel sick all over again. Well, I'm not trying to be blunt or rude, but neither of them loved you enough to consider you in that moment. And that means they're not people worth being around. You are 100 correct. They were thinking about this for a while. In a monogamous relationship, one might call this cheating. I think it's important to remember how you feel from that moment. BC, I have a feeling your BF is going to have a different recollection of events. Either way, the fact he didn't even look at you and just started making out with your best friend is a gross red flag. I'm sorry, OP. He's already told her he remembers it different. Such a special event. How much would you bet it wouldn't be so special for him if it was a one-male threesome instead of him with two women? That guy is a clown. I know, but some people just don't understand. Take your time, breath in, breath out. Hopefully you'll be better soon and don't be too hard on yourself. I regret last night. It felt like a setup by maybe it was spontaneous. Either way, I don't want either of you in my life anymore. Rob, I have some of your stuff at my place. I'll box it and put it in the hallway for tomorrow noon. This isn't something to come back from. You broke up with me the moment you let Sue kiss you. Sue, please don't call or text me again. You kissed my boyfriend. The friendship is done. There's nothing I want to hear from either of you. Enjoy each other's company. These are my in-laws' names. Now I'm picturing bad things. Thanks. Not just kissed, but her friend actively target and set up a situation to screw OP's boyfriend. Her friend is a frigging sociopath. No advice. This is so heartbreaking, OP. I couldn't even begin to imagine the helplessness you must have been feeling this whole time. A true partner with genuine intentions wouldn't have let this carry on, full stop. My mind turns off when I try to picture myself in your situation. That type of betrayal is too difficult to fathom. Thank you so much. Yes, it was horrible. That's the first time I ever felt my brain just turn off like that. I don't know how old you are, but here are thousands of people telling you that they didn't care about you. Please listen to them. They took advantage of you. You deserve better. You deserve someone who would push her away and tell her to stop. Honestly, why didn't your boyfriend stop her though? If someone kissed my fiancé after dropping a bad porno line, he would immediately stop them. I have a weird and yes, currently unfounded feeling that they were cheating before this and used the truth or dare round as a way to dump this on you. Maybe I'm just being too dramatic though. Sorry this happened to you. I'm wondering if this wasn't a setup. Why didn't either boyfriend or best friend start kissing the op? I think if I were going to propose my best friend and her boyfriend have a threesome, I'm going to start with her just so she knows that I'm wanting her as well as him. I would want to be sure that she, my best friend, is on board. After all, her feelings are the main ones I'm concerned with as her best friend, right? I made a similar comment, but this is what makes it so fucked up and obviously not right to me. Op had to undress herself and woke up apart from them. This was not a threesome. Her boyfriend and best friend had sex and made her watch. Absolutely disgusting. We need an update to this story. Even if you didn't stop it, there should have been a discussion before anyone started kissing. It's weird that they assumed you'd be okay with it and should have asked you if you were okay with it. There should have been check-ins throughout, and at the very least it's inconsiderate and inappropriate, if not worse. The line was crossed. I understand your emotions because you were in shock. Your friend obviously had her eyes on your boyfriend long before this incident, and your boyfriend wasn't going to turn down pussy. I would walk away from them both and pick yourself up and start a new life. To be honest, in my opinion, it sounds like your friend took full advantage of the situation. It's weird to me how easily she went into it. It's weird to me that your boyfriend didn't hesitate or try to stop it, or even ask if you were okay with it. Nor from your explanation does it sound like they actually invited you. However, it seems it was implied due to the game. I wouldn't be surprised if this ain't been going on behind your back and this is just their way of breaking the ice to eventually throw back in your face that this was the first time and you were there. It'd leave them both in the dust. Watch how quickly they end up together. I would ghost them both. Permanently. The best night of his life? She was amazing. They definitely had more sex after you left. And also, wow, I would always feel he was comparing us after that. You definitely need to remove both of them from your life. Neither one is worth it. And then set an appointment to go get tested. Because I'm guessing there was no condoms. And lastly, if you need it, hugs to you. I am sorry you are dealing with the thoughts. They are so fucking hard to get out of your head. Just remember, you did nothing wrong and have nothing to be ashamed over. To be fair to him, even though he doesn't really deserve fairness, I think he said it was the best night of his life because he got a threesome. Either way, They're both out of my life. Yeah, you'll be getting tested. Nope, no condoms as gross as it is. Those text messages you shared at the end were enough for me. They both enjoyed it, and your friend is not a friend for lusting after your boyfriend like that. If I was drinking with a friend and my wife, and my friend started kissing my wife, I would have beaten the shit out of him. If my wife kissed him back, I would have kicked her to the curb. Last text from my boyfriend was, "I hope you aren't upset. I think that was such a special event in our relationship even though it was insane." This disingenuous text is bad enough, but the fact that his initial instinct, when your friend kissed him, was to blindly make out with her, the fact that it was not to push her away and look at you, speaks volumes as to the sort of guy this is. If I had to guess, it'd say he was afraid. Pausing the action would allow you an opportunity to come to your senses object, and he was more concerned with getting his rocks off than he was in making sure you were okay. This is not BF material. Ditch him. Same for the friend. There for the streets. This is exactly the part that gave me pause. A random girl at a party did kiss my boyfriend in front of me once. She was dared to kiss the next guy to walk through the door, and he immediately pushed her away and looked at me. It was actually rather amusing because he had his hands up in front of him as if to prove he was not a willing participant. That's how a decent BF is supposed to react. If I had to guess, it'd say he was afraid. Pausing the action would allow you an opportunity to come to your senses object. I also think you're right about this, which is just too gross for words. Ha, I bet they start dating after you dump him. Fuck those shitbags, but not literally again. Sorry lol. Yeah, you deserve some better people in your life. You are right to feel betrayed. They pretty much just fucked each other with you as the accessory. Normal people wouldn't do this shit to their best friend or girlfriend. I hope you do lose them. That's a fucked up thing to do. And it's okay to not be okay with it. I wouldn't speak to either of them on good terms ever again. I don't get how they could do that to me. I know without a doubt they'd have crashed out if it was done to them. I can't stop wondering how it was so easy for them. It's one of the two. Either they think that they have nothing to lose. That is, you will allow it happily and not dump them both, or they didn't care about losing you in the first place. It's one of the two. Or they wouldn't have done it. Dump the best friend immediately. There's nothing to talk about. She wants your boyfriend. And she went after him. She's a goner. Blocked from everything. I expected to be broken over it, but she was honestly a drain in many other ways. You'll find better friends. Cut them both out of your life ASAP. There's no coming back from that. They didn't ask you nor get your permission to kiss in front of you. I kind of feel like it was planned on their part. I know even with my GF support, I wouldn't feel right kissing on someone in front of her. And they were so involved with each other that Op had to undress herself and somehow get in between. I wonder if they would have noticed if she just had left. My wife and I have had threesomes. This wasn't a threesome. This was cheating. Planned or building for a good while. Your boyfriend betrayed you. Big time. I agree, kinda sounds like it had been planned. Your friend is an ass. She planned it or had been considering it for a while. She saw you as a pushover and thought she could help herself to your boyfriend right in front of you. Your boyfriend is an ass for making out with her right in front of you without discussing it with you in private first. It sounds like they straight up started having sex in front of you before you had a chance to consent. BF doesn't get a pass just because you eventually joined in. You had a trauma response. Please seek therapy so you can heal. But IMO, neither one of them deserves any explanation from you. You would be well within your rights to ghost them both. I just anticipate both of them blaming you and calling you insecure or some other gaslighting BS, which you do not need. Based on the title, I went in thinking you were going to be wrong because you agreed to it. But then I read the description and you are not wrong at all. You didn't agree for them to start making out. You didn't have time to process the request. My impression was they know you well enough that they anticipated your reaction and planned accordingly. This was thought out ahead of time. They didn't want to give you time to think it over, so they did it this way. You aren't wrong, and I personally would not trust either again. I feel like your boyfriend and friend have been a thing for a while. Cause for him to just go along and kiss her with no shocked response? Yeah, I would definitely be suspicious. Plus, after this event, I would probably never talk to either of them again. My first instinct would be to believe that they planned this and assumed it would pan out differently. Could you have said no and walked out? Sure. Everyone handles shocking and disturbing situations differently, and a lot more people freeze up or go along with what's happening than would like to admit. You're not wrong to feel betrayed, because even if you had walked out, that she initiated and that he willingly responded is absolutely terrible and disrespectful. Honestly, dump both of them for doing this to you, even if it wasn't planned. You deserve someone that respects you enough to properly get your consent before doing something like this. This reeks of some shit they planned behind your back. I don't like the fact at all that he was texting her all that stuff about it being so good ECT. And sexual feedback like "no, I'm so sorry" makes me feel sick too. Tell your boyfriend that it was so special, that you don't want to see him again. You only went with it because you didn't want to lose him to her. But that didn't go well. I'm nauseated that you're probably still there fucking her. Your girlfriend set this up. They had an agenda to get with your guy. She manipulated the game, probably with him helping. I find it weird that the best friend and boyfriend started kissing before they talked to Op about it. Makes me think it's either happened before or they've been talking about it. I don't see how these relationships will survive the betrayals. In reality, unless you are swingers, then the only way a threesome will work for the most part is if all three people are single. I've agreed to meet my boyfriend in person after he gets off, and I'm going to go ask him straight up if anything has happened between them. On top of feeling manipulated by both of them, I think some of the feelings of disgust are brought on by feeling betrayed by your own actions. That you went along with it and didn't storm out. You have to forgive yourself for reacting to a situation that you weren't ready for. As for your BF and friend, the fact that they just started going for it without so much as gauging your reaction before going further makes me question their respect for you or the boundaries of human relationships in general. How easily they did it will never leave my mind. Made me feel like I was scum on the floor to them. This will not end well if you stick around for either both of them. This is mostly likely the start of something, rather than the once-in-a-lifetime of the moment event. They did not behave like trustworthy friends in that scenario. It sounds to me like they wanted your permission to have sex together. They would not want to do it behind your back because that would make them bad people. Instead, they do it in front of you and get you to participate without discussing it with you prior, so it becomes a very special, guilt-free event. Walk away. WTF, your friend is a shit person. Farther to the bin it is. Important question. Who was he doing the loving on? More? You or the best friend? This is one of the most upsetting posts I've ever read. My heart is in my stomach, imagining myself in a similar situation. OP, you are not overreacting. And I'm so very sorry you had this happen to you. A truly nightmarish situation. The betrayal at every single turn is almost too much. Thank you so much. You all have helped me so very much. She started it because she doesn't give a shit about your feelings or the integrity of your relationship. That's it. She wanted to fuck your boyfriend more than she wanted to be your friend. You absolutely will not be able to come back from this. It is a massive betrayal from both of them. Your boyfriend was completely in the wrong for going along with it, and the fact that your friend began it at all, both without even so much as a glance in your direction, is borderline sociopathic. Absolutely psychotic behavior. Op, if this is real, these people do not care about you. They just don't. Especially not your friend, who I assume has been lusting after your boyfriend for a while, if not having a full-on affair. This might have been their way of retroactively justifying whatever they'd previously done or at least planned on doing. I don't blame you for your response. When I'm in extremely difficult and painful situations, my brain has a tendency to go, this is fine because it could break if it doesn't. You need to cut these, and I mean this, horrible people out of your life ASAP. Given how little they value your feelings and your boyfriend's reaction to your silence, they'll only try to gaslight you. In fact, seems like he's already started. And if your response to this traumatic event is of any indicator, they'll likely be successful because your brain is desperately trying to avoid the painful reality of the situation. You need to get out or it will only get worse. They'll want to turn this into a regular thing. They'll most likely have sex singularly without your permission. They will trample over every boundary you try to put down because they do not have even a base level of respect for your feelings. Do not buy whatever sympathetic BS they pull to placate you. It is disingenuous and they have already shown you that. They don't want regret hurting you. They'll regret a consequence because the only pain that matters to them is their own. I'm so sorry. I wish you healing and an acid enema for them both. Bad news. You for sure saw the end of 2 relationships. Good news. Those relationships weren't worth a damn if they did that to you. That was a twosome and you were just unexpectedly casted onto the show. Sorry, OP. As a guy, I can say this wholeheartedly. He's definitely thought about it before. They've both talked about it before or had visible sexual tension between them. He was attracted to her prior to all of it. The reason he did not stop when she initiated is because there was sexual tension or they talked about it before or both. One thing he didn't lie about was being a horny boy. Advice: drop him, drop her. Time to focus on your mental health, physical health and your identity, and make better friends. I had a consensual threesome with my BF and a girl we knew. Not best friends, but just see each other around and chat a lot. Even that was traumatic for me and I will never forget the feeling during and after. I obviously could never look at him the same either after seeing him joyously fucking someone else. I made sure my now husband was cool with complete monogamy. Like maybe one day when we're older we can explore, but otherwise I will never do anything like that again. Sometimes bisexual and poly people make us more vanilla babes. Feel like we aren't as mature or I don't know what in regards to love and sex. I've been pressured in several scenarios by someone saying stuff like this. It's not everyone's thing. I had some fucking dork and his mid-ex-wife try to lecture me like this too lol. He was just trying to get his share of the pie, but it ended up backfiring in the end. The shit people do for self-validation. Bisexuality does not mean non-monogamous. Signed, a monogamous bisexual. I was in an eerily similar situation to this in high school and yeah, I think they probably planned this together beforehand and either didn't know how to ask you or didn't want to risk you saying no. So they played the progressively more sexual game beforehand in my case. It was a game of truth or dare to kind of build up to the threesome and then your trauma response kicked in and you went along with it. Distancing yourself from both of them is probably for the best. I'm so sorry you went through the same thing. Did you ever get over it? I'm so sorry this happened to you. It actually made me feel sick to read this, and I can't imagine how betrayed and violated you must feel. Please don't blame yourself for any of this. Every single reaction you've had in this scenario was completely normal. No one can predict how they'd react in a traumatic situation, and often people beat themselves up later for responding in a way that they perceive to be wrong. You aren't wrong. Everything they did was wrong. Please have some grace for yourself, and try to focus right now on finding some emotional support IRL. You don't have to respond to or engage with the people that betrayed you until you feel ready. The fact that they were so worried they hurt you, but then went on to compliment each other and say it was the best night of their lives doesn't sit well with me. That text exchange was disgusting and very telling about how they actually feel about it. Just saw the update. That was brave of you to look at his phone, but it's what we all thought. They obviously are into each other and opened Pandora's box, hence why he didn't say anything to stop her. He wanted it as much as her. Thankfully now you know what scum they both are. Cut them off. You deserve a real man who is loyal and puts your thoughts and feelings before a friend. I hope your healing process can begin now and you find new friends who wouldn't treat you so lowly. Oh honey, it was the best night of his life. Pretty sure he would feel the same if you hadn't been there. Please leave him. Oh, and she is not your best friend. She's not your friend. She shouldn't even be an acquaintance. And for future reference, never tell a friend how good your partner is in bed. That's a huge no-no. This was wild start to finish. Sounds like the friend and the boyfriend are both snakes. Even the conversations after were completely inappropriate and disrespectful. That isn't a threesome, that's cheating in front of you, babe. They both are shitty people for doing this, and I'm certain when you break up, they are becoming a couple. Do talk to him though, but I would definitely not be friends with her anymore. And I don't know him, but that would be done too. Did they at any point ask your permission? If not, it's over for both relationships. This is really validating because that's how I feel in my heart. I never once said I wanted a threesome to either of them. I never gave any indication that I wanted them to do that. Heck, I even straight up told them I'm very possessive at Arishula over my boyfriend, so I can't imagine them thinking it'd suddenly be happy with this. It feels like such a disregard on all fronts, but I'm most angry with myself for going along with it. At the time, I legitimately thought I had to have done something to make them think it was okay. So I went into this fake world where it was normal. Were you all sober when this happened? So random of it to just happen out of the blue. It's strange that your best friend would just start making out with your boyfriend right in front on you without even asking your permission. What's fucked up is that your boyfriend didn't even stop it, he allowed it to go all the way. Maybe you're not a confrontational person, and hesitated and went along with it. You wake up and see them naked with each other. You should question whether or not both your best friend and your boyfriend have your best interests at heart. It doesn't seem like it. If this is something you can get past, cool. If not, you should probably consider moving on from both of them. Sorry that this happened to you. Hope it all works out in the end. Yes, we were sober, for all I know. I'm assuming that the sexual nature of the game questions turned her on or something and he was just being a horny guy. But I don't see why their horniness was more important to me. Yeah, I've never been confrontational. I have no idea where to go from here. Usually one of threesome quits the others. I still love him, but I can't look at him the same. I fucking saw his dick go in and out of my best friend. Kind of a deal breaker. I feel like I've been betrayed in the most disgusting way even though I let it happen participated. She took your boyfriend in. PIV. Brutal if you admire and practice monogamy. She wanted your BF and you lost. Yeah, it definitely is brutal. The loss is a win for op in the end. No one who is worth it could be taken from someone else. Let the two crap bags have each other. As a person who has had a threesome with my best friend and boyfriend now husband and woke up the next morning feeling cheeky but otherwise fine with it, I can see there are clear differences with how your situation went down and why I would not be fine with it either. I don't exactly recall the instigation to ours cuz we had been drinking, but I do know she and I kissed before she kissed my boyfriend. If she had gone straight for him, ITDB eyebrows raised for sure. Also, the BF communicated heavily and asked for reassurance before going to do anything with her. Certainly, I didn't undress myself while they undressed each other. Overall, there was a clear lack of communication. But don't beat yourself up about not stopping it. You were blindsided, but you can't change the past. It's happened now. The fact that your BF never seemed to check in on your mental status is the biggest cause for concern for me. Sex needs to be consensual and comfortable unless it's kink, but that's a diff topic for all parties involved. She didn't ask for consent and it sounds like neither assessed your level of comfort. It discussed this with both of them separately, of course. And if either want to minimize your reaction, it would be a good time to move on from those relationships. This happened to me too. I just want to point out how quick your friend and BF were going at it, and left you alone, and then left you alone and slept together on the floor. My ex did this, and it was because he wanted a legit excuse to have sex with the girl he had been cheating with behind my back. It was a power thing. You absolutely had a trauma response. Any sex that is coerced is not consensual. Not once were you allowed to clarify verbally that you wanted this. You just did what you thought you had to do. Please cut them both off. So he didn't even hesitate at all? There had to already be something between them for her to feel she'd do that and him to be so willing. I think he hesitated at the beginning, but went along with it when I didn't seem to react. I blame myself heavily. I am so sorry. It looks like you've lost a best friend and a boyfriend all at once. I wonder if there had been something building up to this for her to be that brazen to reach out and start kissing him and him to kiss her and then they start taking their clothes off. Whatever it is, I would just immediately cut all contact with both of them. This is an extremely weird unnatural setup. Your boyfriend and best friend were not worried about your reaction at all and just kissed in front of you? I think they have been fucking for a while, felt guilty and staged this whole thing to alleviate guilt or normalize what they were already doing. That is just way too ballsy of a move for them to have never done anything before. He got panicky and still thought it was a special moment for us. Us being them two BC who the fuck wakes up with his girlfriend best friend after sex and sees his girlfriend missing and is like, yeah, this was special. Girlfriend is gone the morning after and no smart bells? Whatever. He's a lying liar. Your friend is a fucking whore, and the fact you had to go through the DMS and read that shit is utterly disgusting, and the fact your boyfriend said that it was a special thing to go through speaks volumes about how he's always wanted to do it as well. And that whore has absolutely no class. Let them have each other and they can be trashed together. The fact that in the DM she told him he is everything you talked to her about and wanted to see for herself is nauseating. She's been wanting to sleep with him. She just wanted to do it in a way where she thought you would be okay with it, hence the threesome. But I'm with you, OP. I would block both and move on. Therapist here, it sounds like you were cruelly exploited last night. They disregarded your well-being, only brought their fantasized desire to the interaction, without even a pause for what was best for you. This is emotionally devastating. The betrayal trauma may be something you spend years trying to overcome. I would especially never trust this friend again. She likely had her eyes on your soul for some time. This is disgusting. Your BF should have checked with you multiple times throughout the experience, and he should have tracked you down as soon as he realized you were gone. He and her knew they hurt you. They both sent text about it, but continued to talk about the orgy, how much they enjoyed it. That's just gross. Feels like a setup where they didn't include you and just did what they wanted. My husband and I almost had a chance sexual encounter with another couple. I wasn't into the other guy and he tried to interact with me. I went and sat on the couch across the room. My hubby was getting close to putting himself inside the other woman. But when he realized I wasn't into it anymore, he stopped. Period. End of story. Ignore everyone who is saying this is fake. This happened to me also. I know it's possible. What you experienced is basically a non-consensual sexual circumstance. You need to talk to a therapist. You would not be wrong to feel differently, badly, insecure, etc. You would not be wrong to break up. I'm sorry this happened to you. Thank you so much. Your friend probably been wanting to F your BF and your BF probably thought the same about your friend. OP. Nope. Right out of this relationship and friendship. Threesomes and all other sex acts require enthusiastic consent. You didn't consent. Silence ISNT consent. I'm so sorry. It's understandable how sick you are. This is a betrayal and maybe an assault. Her update brought tears to my eyes. I'm so sorry, OP. Please block them both, get into therapy, and allow yourself time to heal before getting in a new relationship. Not gonna lie, I would have bitch slapped both of them the moment they started making out in front of me. That girl is not your friend. She is evil. What she did to you is so wrong. Sounds to me like she was scheming for a way to take your man. The comments they made in their text messages would have been very hurtful if I were you. You are better off without both of them. They will probably get together again and she will eventually cheat on him and he will feel like an idiot. Move on, lovely lady. Just the fact alone that her best friend low-key wanted to see for herself how good her BF was in bed was just beyond disgusting. You are not wrong in the slightest to feel this way. I'm guessing you're probably pretty young. Panic followed by a complete breakdown of your normal decision-making process is not actually an unusual occurrence in this kind of situation. Neither is your reaction after the fact. However, you might want to keep in mind that from their perspective, you made no complaints and were a willing participant the entire time. They may not actually understand that you are feeling this way. You're going to want to spell this out for each of them separately, probably not in person. And definitely all three of you meeting again is going to send the wrong message. Probably the only wrong thing you could do is pretend like everything is okay when it obviously isn't.